everybody. How's it going? Oh, wow, my camera's messed up here. Let's straighten that up a little bit here. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Been fooling around with my configuration. My camera's a little bit screwy at the moment. But we'll go on with that. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. So, so today I'm gonna do a little bit different today. Actually, I'll be working on a prototype of something that I need to work on for work. Hold on, screen seems to be freezing up here. There we go. All right. So yeah, I need to work on something for work. Basically, I need a dynamic configuration. I need this to be able to work in multiple types of environments. So I think we have Angular app, we have a iOS app, Android app, along with our backends that are MVC based. And sure enough, we're using Azure App Configuration for some of this, some newer service that, from Azure. Have one thing using it, but I need something that, problem with that is it doesn't have anything built in to work everything else, to work with those other types of environments we have. So I want to look at building something for that. So that's what we're working on today. I actually want to start off with a couple different things first. Let me switch over my screen here. Oh, I'm really screwed up. I'm trying to fix this camera just a little bit. A little bit more. All right. That's what I get for moving all my equipment around. Reconfigured my office over the weekend. Definitely much better. All right. So first I want to make sure everyone is aware. On Thursday, Lova.net will have the we're going to have Jeremy Lickness and Arthur Vickers is coming in online to talk about Onion Framework. And so those are two folks on the Onion Framework team. Actually, Jeremy Lickness runs the team. So I definitely hope people will come and join us. That'll be a Zoom meeting Thursday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Definitely. Please feel free to join us, especially if you have any interest in any framework. You'll be able to hear it directly from the folks who are building it. Also want to talk about doing a little bit. Every morning I read news articles, mostly tech related. Just trying to figure out what's going on that day. I might start talking about these on a daily basis. So, a couple that I noticed. This one was a really interesting one. Talking about the hidden cost of GDPR on its data access requests, and really interesting numbers here. The study found that a little bit bigger, but basically found that UK businesses are spending 1.59 million pounds and 24 person years annually process data subject requests. Right, so. Part of GDPR requires that I can request someone to tell them, hey, I want to see all the data you have on me. And this is a really interesting article, just talking about all the different requirements for this and the cost for this. And even more so, it talks about the impact this is having with the pandemic going on. How this is even causing more problems, because not all this data is all in one place. It's all, especially the bigger an enterprise you are, the more likely it's going to be all over the place. I don't think this would. I don't think I would consider this to be a unintended consequence. I think the European Union kind of knew this was going to be an issue coming in, but this is definitely an interesting thing to think about, right? And the thing to remember is about GDPR. While it is a European Union thing, if you have any customers over in the European Union, you're affected by this. Right? It's definitely a really interesting article. This was on Beta News. It's actually just published 6 hours ago today, so it's the most recent article up there. Next one I saw, and I was not going on a rant on GDPR, but checking the register, what had been published. And here's an interesting article published Friday, talking about Vint Cerf, suggesting how this could actually hurt coronavirus vaccine development. Doesn't really go into details because apparently Cerf didn't really go into the details. Just talked about how the overarching privacy issues could actually affect this. And so I thought that was interesting. All right, you know, SARF has definitely gone into the whole, make sure we do security right, and we need to look at this all right. So I definitely really interested to see what he had to say about all this, which really isn't much, but this is definitely something to think about. I mean, this vaccination is extremely important. We get this developed as quickly as possible, still being safe, obviously. But I would hate to see that, because of fear of fines would slow things down. And I'm not talking about fear of preventing. Definitely want to make sure companies do the right things when it comes to securing personal data. But I would, the problem you get with this kind of stuff is people will slow down because they're so worried about, being fined. And these are big fines. GDPR is, I think it said it in here, so I forgot the exact amount. But it's like 4% of your. Swore it was in here. Yeah. 20 million euro or 4% of your turnover, and I think it's whichever is higher, right? I mean, think about that, right? If you're a major corporation, 4% of that's a massive amount of money. So those are some definitely good articles. The other one I thought was interesting.
To everyone navigating these
stop that audio playing, but talking, so Satya came out and talked about warning against permanent work from home, right? And this is kind of interesting. So I work from home. I know Mike, who's on here, is a big proponent of working from home. Actually talked about working from home before it was even the big trend. But there's definitely, I think the big difference is what we see today as working from home is not the same thing, right? Yeah, Mike's been working from home for 20 years, right? But the thing is what we're doing right now is not the same thing as normal work from home. Even for folks, I think, who work from home normally, right? I'm noticing this. I mean, my whole company is remote. We work all from home, but this is not the same thing, right? This is vaccination work from home, right? All of a sudden you've got the kids at home all day long, right? And you have a lot more distractions. And I've seen this, where people are just getting worn out. I've seen it from my own folks, right? Again, people who work from home anyways. So definitely thought this was an interesting article. I will say, and I'm not going to go into details, but I've been hearing, Microsoft, it hasn't been working so well for them, right? Some of the rumblings is that some things are slowing down because they're not getting it as well a work done while they're work from home. So I thought that was definitely interesting. What was also interesting here, so apparently, because one of the things I've been saying with this whole thing is, what happens with a company who said, well, we can't have anyone work from home, right? But now you see, again, a company who you definitely think about, Twitter, although I don't find Twitter as a competitor like they mentioned here. I don't see how Twitter competes at all with Microsoft. But at any rate, Twitter apparently has decided to let everyone work from home as your option, right? So once this coronavirus stuff ends, they're going to allow you to work from home for option, which I think that's a good idea, right? I definitely think that's the right way to do things. Just a couple of articles I was reading this morning. Highly recommend that people do read things in the morning. Read or whenever, right? Whenever makes sense for you. I definitely enjoy this. I'll spend 30 minutes to 60 minutes each day reading things, just catching up, make sure I keep up with things. All right, let's get on to what I wanted to work on. So, sure enough, like I said, I need to build a dynamic configuration, and this needs to be able to do multiple things. I mean, it needs to be simple as feature flags, right? Display this now, don't display this, right? So if we're running, if we need to change the name of something, right? Make that dynamically configurable. I mean, these are things that make sense. And we do that for the most part, but some of the things we don't have a good way of doing it, right? And or we basically hard code things in because we need something for a short period of time. So we'll hard code it in and then we have to and then basically we have to redeploy when we take it out. We definitely want to look at some better ways of doing that. And like I said, there is Azure App Configuration, and for those who haven't seen this yet, this is a newer service. Went GA general availability earlier this year. Came out last year. One of the interesting things about this tool, or the service, is that it actually wasn't built by the Azure team. It was actually built by the ASP.NET team. And you can kind of see that because some of the things are limited to ASP.NET, although not really, but that's what they geared it towards. So it's an interesting service, right? They talk about how it's about the 12-factor app, which is a whole nother interesting concept. But they give some ideas of why you would want to use this, right? And some benefits, right? Fully managed service. This is one of the things I really like about this fully managed service. There are plenty of things out there where I can easily, for instance, I can put in a database and set that up. What I really like about this, it does have a nice front end to manage it, right? And more importantly, I can give that to my DevOps person who is not a developer, and they can actually manage this. So I really like that. Some of the other nice things, tagging with labels. Think about that like your environments, right? So you have your settings that change throughout the different environments. Some other really nice things, right? Dedicated UI for feature flag management. Makes it very, very simple to do this. Encryption of the information, right? That's pretty important. They list as a feature or the benefits, native integration with popular frameworks, and they're correct. Sure enough, if we look at in here, you can kind of see this, right? So ASP.core, .NET Core, .NET Framework, Azure Functions, and there is also Java Spring. But there's nothing built in if I'm doing something like Angular, right? I could build some things easily, but nothing built in, which is fine, right? And again, the goal of what I want to build is something that could be used by all these different ones. The other thing I want to be able to use is something that I don't have to necessarily get a whole bunch of settings. I can easily build this with a REST endpoint and be done with it. But the other thing I want to do, and I'm new to this, I want to use GraphQL. I want these clients to be able to go in there and say, okay, I want these settings, and be able to grab. Instead of returning, okay, well, here's the 20 different settings. Maybe you only need one. So that's the other thing I want to do with this. And I am definitely new to GraphQL. I have watched a Pluralsight video on it. That's about the most I've done so far. So that's what I'm working on this week during our streams. That'll be the core focus. Definitely a couple other things to look at here. Where did I see it? There was definitely here. No, was there? Looking for the best, like this, best practices I was looking for. So definitely some things to think about when you're doing this. And again, this is just preview work on here. So key groupings, right? So one of the interesting parts, they recommend, so it's just strings is the key values, but they recommend, one, doing key prefixes. And so what I did previously, I would actually group things, and I would have basically like a namespace, and I was doing colons separated. So definitely do that, and then use labels. And that's really the best way, I think, to do your different environments. So you can separate those. And it's interesting what it does, and we'll see this. It literally just has the value itself, and then you kind of click on it, and then you see the value, or the key itself, and then you click on it, you see the values underneath. Yeah, so some good talks here about some things. So definitely recommend, if you're going to implement this, read through some of this because it's good stuff. And here's basically the way how I was doing mine before. I'll do that. So along with all that, the other thing I want to look at in here, and something else I haven't done previously. All right, I didn't mute that so it doesn't beep through the whole time. Right option here. There we go. All right. Forgot to do that before we started. So the other thing I want to look at. So before, I was using, if you look at their quick start and we look at .NET Core, because that's basically what I'm going to build. I'm going to build an app in .NET Core. You know, and you can see they were using the, let's see, this package here, the Microsoft.extensions.configuration.Azure app configuration. And actually, that service works pretty well. I don't have any complaints about it, but I actually would like to use a different package. So Microsoft has been coming up with their Azure SDK. So they've been repackaging everything. These are actually really nice what they've been doing. More importantly, they're consistent, and that's the biggest advantage here. You know, as I go from one Azure platform to another, or technology or product, whatever you want to call it, they're all being consistent. So they're all being done the same way. The other great part is it's consistent across the different languages. So it's, you know, this is an effort that Microsoft's going through right now. The Azure team's going through, and like I say, there's the SDK, and these have started being appearing. So I want to use this. I want to try using this. Generally, these packages are a little bit smaller and less intensive when it comes to requirements. There's another benefit to using these. So I'll be stepping through all that. All right, so let's get started. I mean, let's start off with creating this new repository, and we will say dynamic configuration POC, because I mean, I'm literally just, I'll take off the POC. It is a POC for, I'm doing this for work, but for here, we'll just call it that. We'll keep it public. Go ahead and add in our Visual Studio get ignore, and again, we've been making everything the GNU general public. All right, so let's create that repository. And let's go ahead and clone this. So we start off fresh. All right. Oh, repos, code. So hit that and we'll clone it. Nothing in there yet, but okay, there we go. So that's cloned. We'll get, there we go. And let's see. Oh, the other thing I want to do, out of good habit, go ahead and create our develop branch. And get fetch. I don't actually know. Actually, I don't know if I still have to do that. I know in the old panels where they made these changes, that's what you had to do. So have it. All right, there we go. So now I'm on the develop branch. All right, so what I want to start off with is, let's go back to the browser. What was that? So I'm gonna look at this because again, I have not used this new package. So so it starts off talking about install the package, authenticate the client, just looking at what it's got us doing. Create that configuration client. I mean, again, this is very similar to the other things they're doing otherwise. And yeah, we could use Active Directory credentials. I'm not going to be doing that. I'll be using just a connection string. That's what I'll be doing. If we actually roll this out, that's the way I will be rolling this out. And then there are key concepts, configuration setting, fundamental reason. Okay, so this is just talking about, okay, here's the properties of their configuration settings. So that's good to know. And then we have our, I think actually down here, Let's look at their Hello World example. Probably we'll step through. That's nice. Doesn't exist. There we go. Now, the link that I should probably post a change in there because that's definitely didn't work. Yeah. I was looking to see if I was looking to see if there was, like a lot of the Microsoft documentation, there's a space to make changes and such. I don't see that in here. Oh well. All right. So anyway, so in here. Okay. So here is their Hello World. So they're creating a configuration client, create a configuration setting, retrieve a configuration setting. All right. And by configuration setting, they are talking about a setting that sits in those servers. So let's go ahead. What we'll need to do is we'll need to go to Azure, personal account. And I create a this. I was looking to see if I created stuff resource group. I did. All right. Let's go ahead and create a new resource. App config. Create this. And we're going to call this. And we'll call this, we'll just call this POC. Of course, that doesn't work. This is not working because of a different error. Ah. That works. Okay. Wasn't sure if it was a uniqueness problem or a name problem. All right. So we'll do that. We'll have it in my sponsorship subscription. Very nice that Microsoft provides those. Create a new resource group here called app config POC. The way it's easy for me to remember. And I'm going to, because I want to keep this somewhat similar, which is in South Central, that is our, that's where we keep most of our stuff. Now, and then you have pricing details. I actually, so they actually have two different prices here. They have a free tier and they have what they call their standard tier. Really, the biggest thing here, I mean, so you have storage, right? So 10 megabytes per gigabyte. Definitely for the POC, I'm not going to have that where you have a key history. I haven't really used that so much. The big one here is the requests per day, right? So on the free tier, you can have up to 1,000 per day. And what happens if you go over that, you get 429. So that's not a good thing. Whereas the standard, you get 200,000 per day. And then you can see additional requests will be, and 6 cents per 1,000 over that, basically what they're. And you can see, so that's $1.20 a month or per day, sorry, as opposed to free. So for this POC, I'm just going to do it free. Actually, I'm going to keep it standard. And the reason why I did that is because, again, so this subscription I'm using, actually a benefit of Microsoft MVPs. You get a standard one that comes with the same one that comes with Visual Studio Enterprise, but you can actually, as an MVP, I can request an additional amount, and I have that. That's why I have this sponsorship subscription. So I'm not actually paying for it anyways. I want to do that just because I want to see some differences. Because sure enough, if we roll this out in production, we'll be using. We'll definitely be doing over 1,000. All right, so that's going to build that, and that'll probably take a minute so to do that. So while we're waiting for that, let's go back here. So we can see we're going to start off here. We're going to interact. The interesting part about this, they actually don't have completed samples. Kind of interesting. Samples, that's just descriptions. So I can deal with that. Curious what's the difference between the extended one. Oh, okay, yeah. But let's do it one by one. Let's look at the hello world first. So again, in here, it'll have us create a configuration client. We'll create a configuration setting. So in other words, we won't create it first. We'll retrieve that setting and we're going to delete it. All right, so here we go. That is done. We'll go to this resource. So we can see this. It just, for those who haven't seen this before, watching along, I can go in here. If I go to Configuration Explorer, I literally just create a key value. So test value, I don't know, what have you. There you can see where I'm doing like my prefixes with my colons. This is the way how I've done them. And I just give it a value. I mean, whatever. And you have the ability to create labels, and labels you just create as you go. So for POC value 1. But then I can go in here, I can create a dev label. And I've never filled out the content type. So there you go. We can see it. You can see it's hidden, right? Nice way of doing it. Show values. Very much like if you do configurations within that site. Same kind of idea. What's nice, so I was talking about, so I have this, I go in here and I created another one, but if I add a value, right? So right, so now we're in test, and we can, I can now add, say, my QA label. Okay, weird, the drop down there, but now you can see this, right? And this is what I was talking about. I mean, rolled up, you just see that. I see there's 2 labels, so I can easily manipulate these. So nice, right? So that's your keys. The other thing, if you saw in there, oh, I just deleted the 1. I meant to delete the whole key. You can also do key vault references, right? So I can actually just pass a reference to a key vault. So like if I'm gonna put configuration key strings in here, do it as a key vault reference instead, just keeping it more secure. Is really the idea there. The other thing, again, just to show off this thing, there is also the feature manager, and you can kind of see what they were talking about, how simple this is. I can add a feature. We can call this feature 1. Again, you can have your different labels. I'm not going to worry about the labels right now. I think you've seen that. I can add a description to this, but then it's just an on-off, right? So now it's off, right? And we can see it's simply set as that. I can now turn this on, right? So this is really nice, right? This is a nice thing to have. Again, especially, easy on the developers. More importantly, easy on my DevOps, right? I mean, who know Azure really well, but are not, again, they're not developers. Actually, ours is, our primary DevOps guy, he can definitely recode, and he does recode every once in a while, and he actually does some slight changes. Like if he tweaks something, he'll make that change. But really, this is really, what he wants to be able to do is to manage this kind of stuff. Go in here, okay, we need to turn that feature. All right. So this is nice. And this is part of the reason why I want to use this with something that I want to build custom, because it does make managing this all easily. And again, doing ASP.NET work or Azure Functions, it's built in. And I can actually use those within there. All right, so I'm going to go in here. I'm going to actually move this to the side, move it over here, just so I can see everything well. And now let's go in here. So Let's actually just step through this a little bit real quickly. I'm actually going to create a new project. I'm not going to put this into source code, but we're going to I should have debated that a little bit. Actually, might. Let's do this. Let's go here. So here I'm looking at my folder directory. Go ahead and add my folder for source. I'm going to add in folder. I'm going to add samples. And I'm going to add in folder in here, SDK samples. Yeah. And I'm just kind of thinking about this, if I end up doing any blogs or dedicated videos to this, actually having this here might be nice. That's why I'm doing it. All right, now let's create a new project. And we're just going to do a console app. We're going to call it Hello World. We're putting this folder I just created. So Hello World. Create a new solution, that's fine. All right. Create that. All right. So we'll leave everything else as is. So what we're going to do in here, so the first thing it has is create us first thing I need to do is actually import the SDK. Okay, copy that. And put NuGet. And sure enough, if folks haven't noticed, I'm definitely a big believer in using the GUI stuff. I like this better than command line. All right, so you notice it's not coming up. That's because this actually hasn't been released yet. It's still in preview. I don't know when it's releasing, but I feel comfortable enough to use this at least as my POC, because honestly, if we actually use this, we're not going to use it for another couple months because we have a pretty good workload on us. So this should be released by that. All right, now I've got that in there. Now we're going to go in here. We're going to start off with a var setting equals new configuration setting. Some key, some value. I'm typing this exactly what they have. Because then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do like I've done before. I'm going to create a new. Oh, I did the wrong thing first. Let's just go ahead and comment that out. Actually, I need to create the configuration client. So we're going to do var client. Whoops. Client equals new configuration client. And this is going to be a connection string. So now what I want to do, just like I've done previous streams, I'm going to create a new class. Settings. Configuration actions. All right, so I'm just going to do it like that. I'm going to take this off screen, and I'm going to look up in the portal real quick what my connection string is. because for obvious reasons, I do not want to keep this. Yeah, I don't want to keep this. I don't want to show this in the open. Because I don't trust anybody. All right, so I'm gonna go to my access keys. So, and we're gonna copy connection string. Actually, turns out I could have shown the screen. Here, I'll show this. Yeah, so sure enough, whoops. Yeah, sure enough, you're yeah, it actually hides it and allows me to just copy it, which was nice. All right, but at any rate, so I now have that in here as a setting, and then we'll just do settings dot okay, second. What I did forget to do was make that static. There we go. Now settings dot app configuration app config connection. Okay. All right, so there we go. We've created our client. Now we're going to create a setting. All right. So we'll call this hello world, and we'll say welcome to app configuration. Just a simple setting. Does work well for if I was to build this as a presentation later on. I think you could do a space in here. I'm gonna leave it like that because that's normally how I would do it. I'm gonna look at that in a moment. All right, so create a configuration setting. Okay, now we're going to actually, we've created the setting. Now we're going to set it. So we'll do client dot set configuration setting, and we'll setting. So that will create it. And then the next thing, we'll retrieve it. So this is, okay. So you would do a configuration setting. So we'll get that setting. We'll call this retrieved setting equals client dot get configuration setting. So I will tell you this. This is, it's not some key. Hello world. This is definitely a much easier way of doing this than the SDK that is on the app configuration documentation right now. Do this stuff. I have to do a whole lot more. I mean, it's not a whole lot more, but there's definitely more steps on the other one. So I do like this better. I'm glad I'm looking at this. All right, so that's going to do, so that'll do that. That's nice. And then to delete it, we would do client delete configuration setting of the world. All right. Now, sure enough, this is interesting. I normally, in my code so far, I have not set the settings because this is also several more steps in the current production SDK. So I'm definitely really liking what this is doing. So what I want to do, great, fix that. So what we'll do here, put a breakpoint, okay? And Now let's we can all see this together. That's not what I meant to do. We're going to do something like that. All right, and then what we'll want to do, let's go back to my browser here. So I want to, you know, because again, I'm playing with this SDK for the first time, so let's see it actually do its work. So we will, we're going to start this bad boy. I have an error. Now, you don't see it, but it's in my setting. I missed a semicolon. There we go. Now we'll run this. So we can see that's getting started. It's not, nothing's on the console window at this point. We're going in here. We've already created the client. We've already created a setting. We haven't done anything in that setting yet. So now this first one, we're going to actually set the configuration value. So we'll do that. Sure enough, if I refresh here, see it. That's interesting. Oh, because I'm a feature manager. There we go. So there we see hello world. If we show values, we see welcome to the app configuration. So that's cool. All right. So now we will, I mean, more straightforward thing. We'll go and retrieve that value. So I see I have this typo there, but here we go. The value of the configuration setting is welcome to app configuration. That is what we wanted. And then the delete function, we can just run that and let that finish up. And now if I refresh this, there we go, that's going. All right. So yes, I am using, I'm using the Azure app configuration. Yes, Sean, that's exactly what I'm using. And what I'm looking at, just to re-explain, because you know people joining in later, which is one of the cool parts about streaming. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the app configuration, which I've used this before. But what I have not used before is the new SDK, Azure SDK that the Azure team has been working on. So I've been playing with that. I want to see how that works. But the whole end goal here is I want something that we can use for at work, for dynamic configurations, that mixing some GraphQL in there. So so my web client or my Azure client can go in there. I'm not Azure, but Android client, go and get the settings they need, right? So so that's what we're playing with. All right, cool. So that works. It did exactly what the documentation said it would be doing. Yes, agree. The labels are awesome with this, right? For using this. All right, so I mean that does simplify this. And again, I'm gonna keep these because who knows? I might eventually do a presentation about this or some video. So I'm gonna keep that like that. And now if we go back to the sample code we were looking at, so that was their hello world. Let's look at what they're doing in their hello world extended. See what are they doing differently here. So here we're asynchronously creating, updating, deleting configurations, and with labels. All right. Asynchronously create a configuration value. So here you can see we're creating multiple settings, and we'll asynchronously create those. Increase production instances from 1 to 5. Change the value. Oh, okay. So I'll change how many is searched, and then you can see search by label. And then we're HC deleting. All right, cool. And we'll move over here, and I did want to look at one other thing here before I move on to that example. I'm curious. So in my retrieve setting, there's definitely some more things in here. Just curious what all is in here. So we get the content type, we get the E tag, is read only, E label, last modified. That's a nice value to know. Tags and value. All right, I'm just curious what all's in there. Okay. So again, I'm gonna save that. Oops. Now I can figure out where that window's at. Because I accidentally closed it. There we go. Meant to pin it. There we go. What is going on? Oh, I pinned it down here. You can pay attention to that. All right. There we go. Now it's where I want. All right. So we're going to go ahead and so tail earn code stream 5/18/2020. Hello world example. Sample. All right. Go ahead and push that up. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having, I've been having an awesome Monday. I hope you're having just as great Monday. Definitely happy. You know, one of the things I did over the weekend, you know, sure enough, just feeling, actually can't see it because I've got a green screen behind me, but I reconfigured my office. I'm in a really tight room. This is kind of weird when I'm in. I'm in this room it's 6.5 feet wide, and then it's 40 feet long, right? Because it runs the whole length of my house, or whole width of my house. So it makes for a really weird way of setting up this room. And the way how I had it set up, I was against a different wall, which meant my the back of my that 6.5 feet. I was hitting my wall all the time, so I definitely have a little more room, although I'm still tight. But that's helping my Monday because I feel like I have more room. Well, right now, not right now because my green screen's back at me. All right, back to this. So I've created that first Hello World sample. Now let's go ahead and create this second one. We'll go ahead and close this one. I'm gonna create a new project, and we will call this new console app. And now we'll call this Hello World Extended. Put this in the right place. Actually, it was in the right place. All right, and create this. All right, so now let's look at this. Off here, we've got this. I will say one of the things I'm still figuring out how to do this whole stream thing. I need to figure out a better way to split my screen so I can show if I'm looking at a screen over here what I'm looking at, because I'm not looking at anything secret here. I'm just looking at the documented things that I'm actually using. All right, so the first thing that again, we'll need to create that package. You keep on bringing that. That package. You get. And remember, this is still pre-release. It's not out yet. Accept. All right. So now what I want to do, again, you're going to create that client first. What I should have done to start off with, let me do this a little bit easier this time though. Find that file, that settings file I created a moment ago. And in there. And then now we can just do settings, configuration. And I mean, sure enough, that's probably not a bad practice anyways to keep that like that. But again, I'm doing this so my connection string's not up on the screen. All right, so we're going to do that. Here, I'm just going to copy this. No, I don't need to be typing all this stuff. So that's just creating that setting, and then now they're creating some endpoints. So they're they're creating some settings, and here's the examples they're doing. Right, so you have beta endpoint, so you can see it's just endpoint, and in here, this would be label, I'm assuming. Yeah, so there's the label. So you see the key, the value, and then the label. This is definitely a whole lot easier than the existing API. Here, because again, I want this potentially for future documentation. Put that comment in there. Spell asynchronously correctly. Okay, so then it says there are two ways to create a configuration setting asynchronously. Add configuration setting async, creates a setting only if the setting doesn't already exist, or set. Okay, all right, that's cool. So basically what the documentation was talking about, how there's this. Why am I getting all these red squigglies? Oh. You make this method async. I hate when it does that. Still a whole lot better, still makes it a whole lot easier, but we should make that part easier. Put the using statement in there. All right. So you're right. So documentation was talking about here how there is the add configuration, but then there's also the client set configuration. You do it like this, but this is only for if it no, okay. So the add will only set it if it wasn't already created. The set configuration will set it. It will override it if it already exists. I would almost think that's what you'd want to do, anyways. I'm just going to copy this. Use this to set. And again, some of this, because like I said, I might eventually want to do some presentation or a video on this. So I'm going a little bit extra step with this at the moment. All right, so there we've got that. Because that'll help me remember that later on. So there are two different ways you could do it. I'm kind of curious. I would almost think you'd want to do this anyways, unless you're worried about. I mean, because the add will not overwrite. Basically, difference. All right. So anyway, we've got those, and then now we're going to. I'm a lousy speller. Okay, so now we'll asynchronously update a configuration setting. So in here, you're just going to do instance to update and get configuration value. So what is this doing differently than? I'm a little bit confused here. First, you need to create several instances with different key. Okay. Two ways. Okay, so that does that. That's okay. I'm sorry. I am updating. I wasn't paying attention. So this is to update it. So this is getting that value. Okay. Chadwick. Read the very simple to read thing, get configuration settings. So this is going to get it. And then they have talking here. So to increase the production instances from 1 to 5, change the value, set configuration, the override. So they're talking about doing that. I'm just curious. Okay, so that gets it, but we're not updating them. Oh yeah, we are. Instances update. Oh, okay. They're just not doing anything to update. So okay, let's. So this is okay. This is returning. I'm a little curious what exactly that returns. Go ahead and put a breakpoint there. So let's go ahead and run this. We've gotten there. Now let's go ahead and let's look at the browser first real quick. Look at what we've got in here. So there we go. We can see the endpoints and the instances. That's nice. Okay. Now here, we've grabbed this. One. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit confused what they're talking about here. Because in the next, the next code that sample they've got in here is to search by label filter. Stored setting. We'll get configuration. Okay, so that's just retrieving previously stored configurations. Okay, which I get that. Production instances. Oh, okay. So it's grabbing. Okay, so it's grabbing from that. Okay, that's why. Production instances, and then in theory, oh, I was misreading their documentation. All right, I see what they're doing now. They're just setting that value. I thought they were doing some interesting setting thing. Sure enough, now if I do this, the production value is 5. Okay, I'm overthinking what they were saying. All right, so now we've done that. Now the next one's to search by label filter. All right, so search by label filter. And here it says, gather all the information available for production environment, call the get configuration setting async with a setting selector that filters for settings with the production label. Retrieve all the configurations. All right, so we'll copy what they've done here. So we can see that you're creating your selector with the label filter. Just curious here for our selector 2, which is setting selector. Okay, so you can select by the accept date time, the fields of the filter, and the label filter. All right, good to know. And then this is just going to return those production settings. Okay. So let me just run this. And that's why I was talking about the other problem. That's okay. Sure enough, the last step they've got is delete, which would have handled that problem. That was just because, again, they talked about how there's two different ways. You have add configuration, you have set. So sure enough, I put the breakpoint on place. The add configuration will not add, it'll give you that error, which is good to know if it's already in there. So now if I just run the rest of this. So there you can see settings for production. Interesting, it puts in there. Oh, because that's because I printed out the whole setting. Sure enough, I would probably prefer to do this something like this. Setting right dot e value. And then if we run that, skip those settings for those lines for the moment. Yeah, and we see that's just a little. I mean, sure enough, if I was ever to demo this, that would be a whole lot easier to do it that way. All right, cool. So then, the last thing we're going to do is asynchronously delete everything. And, you know, so shocker, shocker, we're going to call delete configuration setting async. Very descriptive. I like that, right? I mean, it's some people like to be a whole lot shorter. I like that. Right? You know, name exactly what it's doing. All right. So now let's just go in here. Refresh. Just go ahead and delete that. And sure enough, now if we run this whole thing, so there, it ran the whole thing, and sure enough, if I go back in, I mean, those keys are gone. All right, that's cool. Sure enough, I want to add a little bit in here. And again, I'm doing a little bit more of this pre-work because, like I say, I might eventually maybe do a presentation about this. So, all right, I wanted that documentation there, and then what I want to do, let's just add a console write line for key value pairs have been added, or two key value pairs, two keys have been created with two values each. And then we would just do a write line console key. So just a simple, you know, actually we'll do a read line. There's a pause in there. So again, if I was able to demo this, you know, that would make it easier to demo, because then I can go over, show that. The production instance has been updated. Okay, that's self. And then run idle. We'll go ahead and the settings have been deleted. All right, and the one other thing I want to do, just for clean. Funny thing is, when I was thinking about what to do today, I was not thinking I was actually write a potential demo app. But this is cool. I really do like right. But I really do like configuration. I think it's a great service. Okay, and I do want a here. Again, for demo purposes. All right, that's cool. All right, so that is the second example they have. That's neat. Like that. Go ahead and check that in. I guess I really could do this all at one time, but I like having the separate check-ins. Just in case, you never know. So there. Now that's getting added. So now the next, let's see what they have else. Not that we're necessarily going to do all these. We have several examples. We're not going to necessarily do all these. Let's see what we have next. Next we have make a configuration setting read only. Okay. What are they doing differently here? So you can see we're creating that client. We're going to create the configuration setting. You set it, and then you set it to read only. Make the set mobile again. This is actually a pretty good thing to know, because this way you don't have anything potentially get it. All right, let's just put this together. And to be complete more than anything else. All right, we want to make a change here. Let me open back up. Open this back up. Finds access. Try this again. Sometimes closing visuals should open back up. I'm this problem. Finds access to the path to. This isn't really that important, but it'd be nice for it to be cracked. I wonder if it's because I have it open right here. Bet you that's why. Just out of curiosity. Yep, that's what it was. Because I had it open up in Explorer. There we go. Just so they stay in Yeah, it was Window Explorer is what it was. All right. Now we will let's create a new project. And next. So this will be called set clear read only. That. All right. And then, so again, we will go ahead and copy back that solution file, or settings file, I mean. We'll need that. And then in here, so okay, again, create that client. They're not picking this up. Oh, several things I'm forgetting here. Add the NuGet. Every once in a while, NuGet just goes real slow for me. Package man. All right. Then our client equals new configuration client. And this be settings dot that one. All right. So I'll have that. So then we'll setting. Value in there. That creates that setting. And then we go in here, whoops. This is actually pretty simple, just the set read only, and then pass in the key, tell it that we do want to do it. All right, so there we're capturing that. So just trying it, and it's supposed to fail. And we change this here, you change it, and then because now it's back to writable, we can now change that value. And then they finish off. Oh. All right, that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, just set read only. Again, we run this. We should see what we're expecting. What did we print out? Oh, because the message is that big. I didn't check. Let's just make sure. No, it definitely, something else happened. Oh no, yeah, yeah, because it should have deleted that at the end. Interesting, it said it, but didn't delete it. Oh, because I didn't change it. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Now if I run this, I copy and paste and I didn't change it. And if I refresh, there's no data in it. I'm just curious. That's a lot of information in the message. Just curious by that. Just again, I'm exploring this SDK. So sure enough, yeah, it is. Quick watch real quick. It is really that long of a message. Interesting. That's the request failed exception. You get a 409. Just doing a little bit, just thinking about this a little bit because, should probably trap for this a couple of different ways. I remember, so the status code 409 is conflict. But I would imagine you could probably get a 409 for other reasons. All right. Well, there's that code, right? So that's pretty simple. Not much to it. But definitely good to know. I mean, All right, so let me check this in. Set clear read only. All right. So now let's see what's the next one here. Read revision history. Okay, I might skip this for now because I'm not really worried about the revision history. I don't think. Actually, that's interesting. I thought I turned Nightbot off. Interesting that Nightbot's still trying to catch warnings. All right, so I was looking at this, and sure enough, for those who follow along more, more on a daily basis or more often, I'm in the middle of changing all my settings for streaming. I've been moving over Stream Elements. I'm really liking the way how they do that. I actually have a new design coming up, and I think what I might do, I might actually do that as a stream. Me setting up my new stream, kind of very meta. All right, so in here, they're reading the revision history. Look at what they're doing. So we're going to create that. We're going to retrieve the revisions of a setting. Okay, well, that's interesting. But for what I'm trying to work on right now, I'm not so much worried about that. Okay, get setting if changed. This is the next thing I want to look. So in here, see, illustrates how to get setting from configuration only if the versions change. So this is pretty important. Yeah, it avoids downloading setting. Saves on cost and bandwidth. So I mean, so this is definitely a good thing, to have in here. So let's look through this here. So create a new file, new project. Check my schedule. I believe I have a little bit extra time today. Yeah. All right, so we're going to create a new project. And we're going to call this one get setting get changed. I actually kind of feel bad about skipping that sample for. But for right now, I don't really need to step through it from my own mind. I'm not going to be using it for right now. All right. And we'll start off package. See, it's strange. Sometimes package manager works just like it does, like it should, and very quick. Other times it's slow, like last time we went. All right. Now here they definitely have some more stuff set up here, right? The define method get configuration save change. So basically we're looking at the headers. All right. This is going to do a bit more starting here. We'll go in here. We're going to create this method. I mean, using statements in here. So it's why those are. Should fix that. So we're going to, let's see here. It says response will have a HP status of either 200 or basically means it's been modified, or 3 or 4 otherwise. Set the app configuration rest object can be encapsulated in a helper method that we return either setting a response if it changed. Okay. So in here, we're going to go grab that value. We're going to look at the status code of it. And basically, if we go 200, return the value. Otherwise, we'll return the whole setting. Oh, because you pass in, yeah, because you pass in the setting, which in theory would have a value. Okay. Okay, so then we get back to the regular method. So we'll first create, just like we've a bunch of times, we'll create this client. Oh, I didn't copy the file over yet. File. Okay, so we'll do that. Then it's going to, we're going to get the initial setting with the E tag. So you know what? That's fine. Leave the code as is. I was gonna change these values. I don't need to change, at least not right now. So then we're gonna get the E tag value out of it. Pause in there. Okay, so then we're going to get the latest setting. In here, you're going to get the latest setting. So, which is going to call that method. This is going to pass that. And then they're going to, do their normal cleanup. So I think I might add a little bit more into this. Again, if I was ever to demo this, I mean, at least I'm going to demo this to the company. So that's okay. Let's just take a look at what this does. Let's just run through it first. So we can see setting. So you can see your E tag. Received a response 304. Latest version of the setting is at values, and it was deleted it. Now, what would be nice, let's change the setting, right? So we would go in here, we would say setting value equals change value. And we would do a client set configuration setting. Oh, yeah, and I could have just done. There we go. That. Now that that setting is changed, you do this again. New latest setting, just for now. Now, if we run this, I would expect 200 because I have not retrieved that. There, we retrieved it. There we go. We got a 304. It's a right. New list. Oh, thank you, Sean. And sure enough, this would be the newest. Let's say again, if I was to do anything more with this, I would fix this up a little bit better. Just validating an assumption here. So we can see I've got the E tag. Got 3 or 4 because I already said it. I got a 200 in the 200 again. Oh. Do it like that. Active. All right, cool. All right, so that's that walkthrough. All right, that's really good to know because that does save on overall cost, right? So it's because again we're not retrieving every time. A 304 is better than it's cheaper than a 204, 200 every time. Well, that's good to know. All right. So let's go ahead and check that in. I've got to figure out why my keys are doubling. And we'll so this is get setting changed. Simple. Before I check them in, it's just close the solution, pull her back up. And this is sample 5. I skip 4 for now. Then. All right, that's good. So now, I'm just gonna probably not gonna step through this code right now. So updated configuration of unchanged. This is interesting though. Look at that later. I want to look at what is this last one? Mock client for using mock library. Oh, okay. Sample illustrates how to use mock to create a unit test that mocks the response from a. Ooh, this is definitely good knowledge to have. Let's take a let's do this one. This will be the last thing we do on the stream for today. So I want to create a new project. Console app. Call this mock plant. Yeah, we'll solutions for. We will package. And so the first thing they do is they define a method to use the configuration client. Copy that whole thing. Let's see what they did here. Things added in here. I did install it, right? Thought it did. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Now we've added Azure. Okay. Now let's take a look at what we got here. So we're update available VMS async. I shouldn't have skipped the last example because they're using code from some code from there, but that's okay. So get configuration available VMS cancellation token. We're gonna try to do an update on that. Basically just ignore 412. Which is a love it. First thing that comes up is the area code of Pittsburgh. Is precondition failed error message. So basically we're just ignoring a precondition failed. All right. Here. Actually, no, I didn't install that package, but one way of doing it. All right, there we go. So now we're going to create that mock. Then this is going to be new mock configuration client. Okay. Create and set up those mocks. Now Sean's learning. Yeah, Sean, you're not a moderator anymore. Like I said, I've been fooling with some things. All right, so now we're going to okay. We're gonna do that. Then we're gonna okay, so in here, we're going to create a response from value. And we're going to do some mocking. That sets up the mocks. And then we'll use those mocks why? Oh, okay. Yeah. Cert is not part of mock. All right, and then we'll use that mock, and we'll put those values. This really should be in a test client. I'm not going to run this, but all right. So I see that. That's cool. That's pretty cool. All right, let me go ahead and get that checked in before I forget. Tail learn code stream 5/18/2020. This is mock client sample. All right, great. Awesome. Well, I do really appreciate everyone everyone joining today. Let's see who we got. Who can we go raid? Let's see. What is
is really going to be taking our.
Okay, they're doing Sitefinity. What else online here? Let's see. Let's go to. Why do I not have the team set up right? There we go. Well, what else we got going on? Who else is streaming out here? Gotta wait for the ad break. Yes, I will be watching Build tomorrow. In between some other things. So let's see. So he's doing that. What else we got going on? Discord bot. That could be kind of interesting. Ah, here we go. Let's look at that. This should be a good talk. Migrating JSON to real database. I bet that will be an interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see. Copy this name. So again, I really appreciate everyone for joining me today. Good step through of the sample codes within why is there it's coming up there. Good walkthrough of that. We'll be doing more of that on the rest of the at least next couple of days. Tomorrow we'll actually start building out what I will want for this. Again, really appreciate everyone, and see everyone tomorrow. See y'all.